guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel and welcome to this segment, Talent Scout, and I'm so excited that you clicked on this video to watch again and again, and I'm super excited to have you here. Today we are going to have a talent on this couch and we will talk about a lot of things that they have gone through with their career with respect to tech and with respect to business, and I'm sure we're going to have a super excited time. If you are new here, welcome. Please click on the subscribe button. You can like this video and also drop a comment. It's always very engaging in the comment section. And if you're an existing subscriber, welcome again. Right now, you know what to do. Just like this video, share it with your friends, with anyone that you feel like they are going to need this and this is going to bless them. One look, and I breathe. One touch, feels skinny. And yes, it's another edition, and today we are talking about a very interesting topic that's from a tech talent who is a software developer and also has a side gig. So we are trying to have a conversation.
What exactly side gig is it?
Okay, so this person is a friend, so there's going to be loads of banter on this couch today, but I'm ready for it. I'm sure we're going to count scores before the end of this session. But yeah, today I have Oluwafemi Tairu. He is a software engineer and a multi-founder. What did you say?
Yeah, that's all good.
He has founded plenty things and unfounded them as well, but also he's also a photographer. You need to speak up the things that you're saying under your breath.
Yeah, I'm just letting you do the introduction. It's fine.
Yeah, and he also has a photography business on the side. So today we just want to get into his life a little bit and understand so much about him. So yeah, Femi, do you want to tell us anything about yourself?
Hello everyone. I'm Oluwafemi. I'm currently a software engineer at Opco.
What's
yeah.
Opco?
Yeah, so it's like a abbreviation for healthcare outcome performance company. Yeah, I know it's a mouthful, but yeah.
That's a lot. It feels like you're saving lives.
We are saving lives.
You're not supposed to be responsible for people's lives. It feels weird that you're responsible for people's lives.
Maybe you're not directly responsible, but yeah.
Okay. Anyway, I don't know. I just have friends that are saving lives. But yeah, so I mean that was a good one. So I think we can just get into like the conversation and like everything, just understanding everything about you, about how you started with software engineering. What did you do differently? What did you learn? And how did you even start in the first place? What was the journey like for you from the very beginning?
It started with a lot of confusion.
Okay.
Yeah, I said that because there were a couple of changes towards my senior secondary school and the likes. So from wanting to be a medical doctor to automobile engineering and then finally computer science, which was quite surprising because I think 2 months or a month before I made that decision, I obviously knew almost nothing about computers, but it was quite exciting for me, and getting into poly, trying to pick 1 or 2 programming languages. Of course, I feel like I was more interested in computers than actually interested in the degrees. So I spent more time on my computers trying things just by
myself. Is it the hardware bits of it or the software?
Then it was a mixture of both.
Okay.
But I was mostly focused on the software. I was more into programming languages, screwing shit up. But I did a little bit of the hardware side. I mean, we had breadboards then, transistors, resistors, trying to construct gates. And it was just interesting that to be able to relate everything that happens on your computer, starting from the punch or the tap of the keyboard or putting up your machine to everything down to the resistors, transistors, and how it becomes and OR gates and how it transforms into zeros and ones. It's just interesting to actually understand all of that. But yeah.
Sadly, I don't find it interesting. But I get you. But did you have someone you were looking up to at that time that was doing something like that? That you felt like, oh, this is why, or this is the person I'm looking at, this is why I'm interested in something?
I would say yes, and I would say no. So through my poly days, which lasted for about 2 years, I think the most prominent person I knew then in tech was Mark Zuckerberg. I'm pronouncing his name well, but okay. And it was just about it. I would say that's a little bit on my part, because I didn't try to like seek out for people, seek out for communities and stuff, which is one thing I would have done differently now. Every other person was just people who were also trying to study computer science and lecturers as well, which, yeah.
And so this was like in your diploma, this was during diploma,
Yeah,
but before diploma, before you even had the idea of computers and stuff, what did that feel like? Was there like an uncle somewhere that was into this that made you feel like, okay, I want to do what this uncle is doing? It just came naturally to you?
So it was actually a computer science, computer studies class, right?
Oh.
The previous lecture, the previous week, they taught us about HTML. I don't know how we got there. I can't remember how we got there because, yeah. But taught us about HTML, just a simple web page. And then the next class, the teacher was like, can anyone tell us what we learned from the last lecture? And I raised up and I was like, okay, yeah. And I went to the board, I wrote a simple HTML code and stuff. And then the guy uttered, this is our next Mark Zuckerberg. And I was like, okay, wow, what was that?
Who's that?
It's funny, but yeah, that's when I actually went to Google, like, okay, what's that? And it sort of like sparked my interest. I did a lot of Wikipedia research, and there were a lot of confusion around that area because computer science, computer engineering, the lines between them were actually blurry, and what they mean in the Western world was quite different from what it means in universities back then. So, but
wow, that's super interesting. So you all started from computer science class.
yeah.
Those are the classes I used to run away from.
I mean, I had classes I ran away from then, but I think that would be Yoruba. I only played the Yoruba class when we were reading Yoruba literature because, yeah, in Japati Roku and the likes, that was quite interesting to me, but yeah.
Oh, that's so sweet. That's interesting. So, the journey possibly started from computer studies in secondary school, then going on to, so it was a no-brainer when you were going into tertiary institution that it's either I am doing computer engineering or computer science. There must be computer in front of it.
I just wanted to write programs. That was my main interest, right? So I think the confusion or the bit I had to figure out was what was more software than hardware in the Nigerian tertiary institution. Is it computer engineering, computer science? Actually made a mistake and I went for computer engineering as my first choice and computer science as my second choice, but as God will have it, I was given computer science. So.
Yeah, that's good. So that was still like a step in right. How did you not end up in mathematics class?
I mean, it's Nigeria. Let's just put it that way. It's Nigeria.
Okay.
I finished poly, got 3 or 6 months internship with the business solution software company then in Lagos. And after that, I was like, I'm going to go to Andela. Reason because I felt I did not pick a lot of things from school, and most of the things I knew back then was stuff I went out on my way to actually learn myself. So it was like, I might as well just go to Andela. Andela was like the very big name then. So, but my mom was quite adamant, and she was like, I have to get a degree. If you're a person in the family has a degree, you have to get a degree and stuff like that. So I decided to apply to LASU. Direct entry, which was quite a very funny story. I was doing computer science for a bit, and then later they were like, wanting, I have to do maths. And I was going to say no, actually, if I was ready to drop out. And my parents were on board with it, but because I feel like at that point in time, they now understood that my interest was more of computer, and they were not willing to like force me to do any other thing. But I spoke to this professor there in maths that was also doing something in computer. And it took a while, but he actually helped me understand that actually doing maths is not too far from doing computer science and I can do both. And I feel like I'm actually grateful for that, because looking back, I feel like that was actually very good counsel.
Wow, that's good. I think we are all like a product of one good counsel or the other.
Yeah.
Sometimes one bad decision.
Well, sure.
Sometimes one bad decision. So, do you think anything would have been different if you did not complete uni?
Difficult to say actually, but I mean, who knows? If it was not uni, then I think I would have just maybe gone to Andela, one boot camp, or maybe work with some startup or something. Because actually, during the course of me studying mathematics at last week, then I was more or less outside school than inside school. So it's either I'm coding hub outside school, or I'm in computer lab coding than actually sitting in maths class. And when I could, I took a lot of CS electives rather than math electives.
Oh, wow.
So most people knew me as the computer science guy rather than the mathematics guy actually.
That's fun. That's good. Hope you passed the
Yeah, well, I struggled, but yeah, I survived.
distinction.
Nah. I feel like if I had distinction, I was going to surprise myself. I feel like I survived, or I managed to, like, I came out with a distinction from poly, but that was mainly because I was interested in what I was doing. I didn't do a lot of reading. I just go home, write more codes than what I've done in class. If it was hardware, I was just going to do more stuff. I was just curious generally, right? So when time for exam came, it's not like I do extra reading or something, but everything that comes out is stuff I've actually practicalized. So I feel like there's almost nothing you bring out that I can't write, because I've actually done these things. But coming back to maths needed more time. There were some things about maths that I did not exactly like, and given the Nigerian educational system, there were some things that I just shit. So I passed, but yeah, not.
That's okay. If there was someone in this same situation right now, like the entire, or you already have like an ND, and because of family you want to also get a BSc, what would you tell them to do differently, or what would you tell that younger self to do differently?
I try not to get into this conversation of school important or not and the likes. And to some extent, I feel like it really doesn't matter. It's the extra push that you give yourself that actually matters. I've seen people who do almost nothing relating to computer science and they end up being programmers, right? So sometimes I feel like it's not really about the school. It's not what course you study in school. In fact, for a long time, I had this notion in my head that most of the people that actually go to school to study computer science, they end up not doing anything related to computer science.
Yeah.
It's the people from engineering that did civil engineering, mechanical engineering, or even sometimes law that end up coming back to programming and saying, "Oh, I'm going to pick this up." So, to some extent, I'm almost tempted to say, to some extent, it doesn't really matter what you do in school. It's the extra push. I know someone is going to come and say, you learn algorithm in school, or you would learn stuff about the Big Bool edition and all of those complex computer science concepts. But all of those things you can pick up online yourself and learn. So it just depends on what you really want to do yourself.
So you would say that you are self-taught?
I wouldn't exactly say that. I put in some effort on my own hand. Some things I learned in the class.
Oh yeah.
Shocking. But yeah, and some things were mostly from the community. I don't know if I mentioned before, but there was this time during my end days when I was sort of like, it was like I was secluded. I had really nobody to look up to. There was no community, nothing. It was just me and my colleagues, or those who were like a year ahead of us, and there was nothing until I got out of poly, and then I found out there were communities in actually then that I could join. The first community I joined there was for Loop Nigeria, and I went to like Concatenate Corp. That's why I started learning things about PW and all. But those were some things that came in handy and sort of like played a role in my development.
Well, that's fun. And are there like friends that you think you? I always believe that there are three different groups of people that you grow with. There is your mentor, there are your peers and then there is your mentee. Do you think there are peers from that time that up till now you still see, even if you're not like friends, but you still see that there's like that steady growth?
Yeah. I worked with some couple of guys back then when I was trying to build startups and companies and work for agencies. But I think 3 or 4 of them still in computer science or doing stuff related to tech, some designs and others programming. I'd say, yeah, that actually one way or the other they played a role in my development.
Is there anything that you say a vibe that's around, or a quality that's around you guys that you've seen like in everybody?
It's a funny story, but I think one thing that jumps out at me now is just the fact that everybody was interested. I feel like interested is a very small word. I think passionate about getting things done. Like I said, we actually spent some time building some companies and some startup products and the likes. I feel like
They know.
well, that's story for another day. But there's a story that I would always tell when I want to talk about passion and just the vibe to get things done. We went to like the coding of one of these days, and then we're walking home, and then we just talked about an idea, and then it was more of like a 15 minutes, 20 minutes walk to where we all split up, and then we just talked about an idea, and we're like, oh well, we could build this overnight. You could do this. I'll be in the back end. You work on the mobile. You do this. You do that. And that was it. The next morning we had an app ready with the back end. Then it was built with PHP, and the front end was built with Ionic. Simple stuff. It was just a simple mobile app, nothing too complex. But we had it up and running. It was we called it QA then. Yeah, QA. It's a question and answer session kind of app, right? And then we spelled it as QHAY. But it was pretty much up and running next day.
So you guys built an app overnight?
Yes, technically. Trust me, we did a lot of that back in the days. And sometimes when I tell people this, they feel like maybe I'm just lying or I'm trying to be smart or something. But there are days I forget to sleep. And I'm going to explain to you. So I get home from school, say, I start working on my laptop, and then I think there was a time I was staying with my hands. Then she calls us, okay, come to the parlor, come eat. I ate, clean up my plates, go back to my laptop, and I continue, right? And then I just continue, get lost in the whole thing. The next minute I check the time, it's 4 o'clock. And I'm like, okay, well, it's 4. What's the point of sleeping? If I sleep, I might oversleep, right? So I might as well just continue. And then when it's like 6, I get up, go take a shower, and then I'm off to school again. Starts. And it can go on like that for like 3-4 nights, and then maybe the 5th night my body gives up and I just crash and I sleep. Like
I really can relate to that time. And some days when I sleep terribly now, I know that there were days where I did not sleep. And everyone will come out and see me in the living room and be like, are you sure this thing you are doing is this deep? I don't think it's this deep. But then it was just that passion. Maybe passion seems like you can't quantify the word or the amount of hard work that was done in that phase. But I genuinely really relate to this story. Thank you for sharing that. I think that was very insightful. All right, so how did photography now enter this WhatsApp group? Because it didn't sound like there was anything related to photography from you.
Yeah. I've done tech and just tech for a long time. When I say long time, not long time, I mean I'm still quite young, so maybe not some years on there. But aside tech, I think any other thing I've done is probably something related to tech. So maybe speaking at events or trying to run a company and the likes. But photography came into play because I think I just had like this. It was like an hobby for me to just take pictures. I feel like the world is a beautiful place. There are a lot of beautiful things here and there, and I just like to capture and have like a
Have you met
of it. So that's how photography got into play.
Yeah. So you don't take just nature pictures though? feel like you still take
Yeah.
people too. I mean, people with nature.
When I got my first camera, the first couple of things I took were pictures of like landscape pictures, just flowers and the likes. But then for some reason, a friend of mine, then our birthday fell towards the time I got the camera and stuff, and it was like, oh well, I could just do a photo shoot. And then that was like the first picture of like humans and stuff I took. I was like, well, what as well.
Bad, no?
I mean, yeah, but
I mean, that's a good one, but the energy you have for software development is how are you? If you have 100% energy, how much of energy do you have in software development versus what you have for photography?
of course, software development is always going to take more space. I still strongly want to keep developing apps. I still have like side stuff that I just do and mess around with as far as tech is concerned. I feel like for me, photography is more of like something I do because I just enjoy taking pictures.
No, you're a DJ too.
Okay.
Sorry guys, let me tell you the story of that DJ. I got a call. I don't know where the call. I was like, why is Femi calling me? And the first thing he said is, don't shout. Don't say anything. I'm like, what happened? And he pulled up a DJ deck on me. I'm like, wow, explain yourself. So, explain.
Sometimes I don't know what goes on in my head, but I feel like I can try to make it make sense to you, right?
Okay.
Or to anybody watching this, right? So I feel like most tech talents in Nigeria will be able to relate with this. But when I started out, after all of the sleepless nights and trying to do back to back, and then I did not work for the corporate space really until much later, which kind of like weird to me. But I started working for like a normal corporate office and just felt like I had too much time on my hands. So I was doing 2 jobs then, working for a US company mostly at night and then a Nigerian company. And at some point I don't know what was wrong, because I feel like now that I think about it, it's not really true. I felt like I had enough money then, which is not exactly true. So I thought I might as well just quit one of these jobs and I should give more time to actually do more stuff rather than working like. So yeah, I left my job then in Nigeria and I was just working for the US company. And then that was the first time I actually got a PS and I actually spent more time gaming, going outside and just doing other things that were not tech related. And I think that's where all of this comes from, just that desire to do other things with my life that might not be tech related, but stuff I just find interesting, stuff I want to just learn or just dabble into. And that's how photography came in, that's how messing with DJ came in. But yeah, I mean, I've done some couple of things, including trying to organize an event, which was, but yeah.
Oh, which one?
I think Ibile Grove.
Oh, that was a success now, I think.
It is a success, but see, I'm just saying this because if you met the Femi of that time, like 5 years ago, you won't believe I'll be trying to host or try to do anything event related. I was more of like super introverted. I'm still shy, very shy. So hosting an event would not even cross your mind too. Yeah.
What changed?
I don't know.
You saw money.
To be honest, I don't think it's about the money. Because with the events, it's not like I made anything from it. It was just the feeling of gathering people together and just having fun, doing things that seem most likely close to home now that everybody's now outside of Nigeria, and then we just want sometimes a feel of what we have back at home. So I think that's what led to Ibile Groove. The DJ stuff was, I've always loved music. Even then, back then when we were coding, we always played music, either individually or someone just played music and then we all listened to, right? So music has always been a thing. So just having to like mix sounds and stuff, it's interesting to me. So yeah.
That's fun. That's really good. It's good to know. What are the things that I do outside of my day-to-day maybe design work? I can't tell. Oh, I cook. I think I
And
do.
you actually do a number of
I do.
book readings and stuff.
Oh yeah, then read books and all. But those things still feel very serious.
Well, you actually need.
Oh yeah, that's true. Oh, I should pick up those things
And
as well.
you've also tried hosting events, painting as well. So
Oh yeah. So, oh my gosh, there's a lot of that. So I'm going to go back to tech just for a bit to just talk about what were the, aside being on your laptop and writing lines of code, blue, red, green, yellow, that I would never understand.
It's not that colorful.
It's always very colorful. You people know it's always very colorful. So, doing all of that, what are the other things you did that were tech related? I know you were also like into events, communities. How was that generally for you?
So most of these things, there's like a backstory to it, and the reason for most of them. When I moved from Poly to LASU, I tried running. Not like I tried. I did run a community there, which, if I remember correctly, is the first. It was the first tech community then in LASU.
Oh wow!
After I got out of Poly, and I joined for Loop community, I got to LASU and I was like, oh wow, there are no tech communities here. You guys don't have tech events. I was like, I know what I benefited from the tech community. You guys should also benefit from it. So when I could, I invited some couple of people to join us. I think about 3 or 4 guys from LASU joined me for Loop, Concatenate, Cuff them. And then I teamed up with other guys and we're like, okay, let's have a tech community here in LASU. So that's one thing I did. At some point, I started speaking at some of these communities. So spoke at PyCon Africa in Ghana then, some couple of communities there in Nigeria. And I think I had a fire session recently, PyCon Europe, but yeah, that's like a couple of things outside.
That's nice. Did you intentionally look out for these opportunities, or because you're not so out there, like especially the professional ground for people in tech, I would say LinkedIn.
Yeah.
But then you're not all that out there on LinkedIn, and you just give us 1 million posts and then you disappear. So how would you say that you were able to access these opportunities when you were not like very much intentional about LinkedIn?
So 2 ways, I think, right? So, I mean, I started a community. So, the initial whole phase of the community was actually inviting speakers outside to come talk. And I know when I left last year, I think a year or 2 years later, I got invited back to the university to come talk. So that's like one way. Another way is just applying, right? There's this conference that's happening. It's a PyCon conference. I've got this idea. I feel like the community might benefit from. I want to share what I've built with them, and I just put out the proposal. That's what happens most of the time. But yeah.
That's good. So what next for you in tech? Do you just want to remain in the work or in the talent part of it, or you want to go into the leadership part of things, or you want to focus on photography, or you want to be a DJ, what's the name I gave you?
I'm not going to say that yet. I'm not going to say that yet.
But yeah, so what's next for you in terms of tech?
Okay. To some extent, I feel like the leadership part of tech has always been there. Starting out, I've had to sort of like be a mentor for some couple of people in tech, which, by the way, they're doing great at the moment. I've had to lead teams and the likes. So one way or the other, I feel like that's going to come in at some point.
How soon?
I don't know.
Okay.
I feel like another thing I'll most likely go back to at some point is actually building startups that actually do things that are quite impactful. I tried that in the past. Some didn't work out for some couple of reasons. I would an article about that, but yeah, that's most likely something I'll go back into. being a DJ, that's just like a hobby. I just do it like for the fun of it. I don't think I'm going to one day stand on the big stage and start cheering people and stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, that's good. I have one more question, and I understand that we became friends off job hunting. Weird. And at the time we just moved to a new country trying to secure like a job offer, and coming from an environment where so-called we were like top in our career in Nigeria, then coming here to join that struggle, it was a lot, which we both went through that. What would you tell someone that is just coming into the UK job market with your same level of experience, or if you were just coming in, say, this year into the same UK environment, what would you do differently?
Interesting question. A bit of a backstory, right? So before coming to the UK, I could say I did not exactly work in a corporate environment. I've either just worked in some sort of like agency mode for startups and the like. So when I was running the company, so a couple of guys, my first corporate setting job was then in Abuja AFX, and I did not have to prepare a CV or apply for a job. The current CTO, I think, just reached out to me on LinkedIn and it was like, hey, we have something that you might be able to work on for us. So I did like a contract job for them, and then from there I transitioned into being a staff. So, and then I think every other job I got from there, I did not exactly have to apply for any job or have a CV or anything. So I think coming to the UK, I feel like the first thing that was messed up was CVs and cover letters. I would say I did not exactly have an experience doing that, and how it's supposed to look like. My current CV when I got to the UK was some edited CV I got from my sister, which by the way is into the business IRPM stuff. So imagine picking up like a salesperson CV and trying to use that for tech, right? So my CV was not that great. I had to pick up some CVs off template of Google, I think one from GitHub and stuff that were more tech focused. So my CV did not start with skill and objective. Start more with like what I could do, the programming languages I could write. So there are a lot of refinements going on with my CV, right? I'm not so sure about this, but it feels like there's the UK factor in all of this. And of course rejections. And I think one thing I hated about the whole system was I spent time, I applied to a particular job. Maybe I got to the second stage technical interview, and then I just get a mail telling me that you decided to proceed with other candidates. Can you please tell me what led to that decision? Like give me more. Like, was it something about my technical skill? Was it something about my soft skills? Like, what was the problem? I feel like there's something lacking on the feedback side of things when it comes to interviewing in the UK, right? And another thing was recruiters do a good job, but I feel like they could
do better. Especially with getting like the tech skills that they are looking for compared to what you have.
There was a very funny scenario that happened. So I saw this JD looking nice, and I felt like I was fit. I applied. I think the next day someone called me and was like, okay, the recruiter calling from so and so company, and he was asking me if I had skills with some certain things, and in my head I was like, what's going on here, right? It's like, I tell you that I'm a farmer, I've been farming for 5 years, and I tell you that I plant mostly household crops, and you're asking me if I have experience digging the ground. Like, for the fact that I've not mentioned that I dig the ground, don't you think that as a farmer, I have to dig the ground to plant? Also, I've been doing it for 5 years.
It depends on how deep the ground is. So I think that's where keywords come in. Them
it was very funny to me because so it simply means that the person that is acting as a recruiter does not exactly understand tech. They're not technical recruiters. So you're just looking at whatever the company provides and you're trying to match words and stuff. And that was very shocking for me because I just expected more. So in my head I was like, so all the CVs I've submitted, it has been dropped because why? I did not put this particular keyword, maybe a REST framework or what, CSS or HTML. That's why you just dropped my CV. And it almost led to a whole, Oluwafemi, can you be in the startup around this? But I was just like, nah, not everything requires a software solution. Yeah, but I feel like that's just few things I learned while trying to apply for jobs. And I think the rest is just higher powers. It is
powers that be.
You just have to consult one of them because you can still do everything right and still not get the job.
Okay, last question. So when we got into tech, maybe I feel like you were in it earlier. I got into tech actively maybe 2019, 2020. I would say the competition was less compared to now. There are loads of people right now in tech. Do you think it's still a good thing to get into tech? Do you still think people should actually get into tech? Or the house is full, nobody should come in again, there are too many jobless people?
When I was writing codes back then, 2014, Polygon, there was this guy, it was also my namesake, Femi. He used to say something, he said, all the codes that needs to be written or the programs that needs to be developed has been that there was nothing else to do. Like I'm just wasting my time. He said that, although he said that on like a joking note, but technically he did utter that, right? And that was 2013. This is what 2025.
This is like 15. No, this 12 years after.
We're still writing codes. We're still new stuff here and there. Yeah. I mean, I wrote an article recently where I was trying to say tech should be done for the right reasons. I don't like this vibe where everybody wants to get into tech because you feel like that's the way to make money. Not everybody tries to get into oil and gas because there's money in oil and gas. There's money in some couple of other fields. Nobody tries to go in there, but because tech is sort of like accessible, anybody can pick up tech, right? And decide to say I want to learn a programming language. Everybody just wants to get into it because you want to make money. I'm like, I don't think things should be done that way.
Yeah, true.
You should get into tech because you're actually passionate about this, right? So, number one, I don't feel like the house is full. There would always be need for tech. It might be sort of like tight right now because there are a lot of layoffs. That's purely economical. And,
yeah, true.
Yeah, but I don't think it's the wrong time for anybody to get into tech. I'll just say the same thing. Get into tech for the right reasons because you're actually passionate about this thing. It's not because you just want to make money, because the money might not come as soon as you want to.
If you don't even come at all.
And maybe there's a need for people to have more entrepreneurial kind of mind, but I mean that's by the way, but yeah.
Okay, thank you so much for sharing that. I think that I've heard you really say things that we have not talked about before and touch really very salient points that I begin to wonder if it's still used sitting down beside me. But yeah, very, very profound. I think I genuinely had stuff to pick out from it. The fact that people have written codes and people will still write code. So the sky is too big enough for anyone to fly as long as you have the right reasons to be there. I think that's something very profound. And that brings us to the end of this episode. Sincerely, it was a lot for me. I think I really had a lot to take from this session, and I hope that you did it as well. So if you are new here and you made it this far, please click on the subscribe button so that you get notifications as well when we post new videos in the future. And also you can share this with your friends, post on your social media platforms as well. It's definitely going to help someone. And if you are a returning subscriber, you know how we do it in the comment section. Let's keep it engaging, and I'm sure that in the next session we'll also have something very profound as well to share. So thank you so much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe and drop a comment. I think that's all that I would have you do, and I will see you on the next one. Finally, my name is Deborah Dada. Day to day I'm a product designer, and outside of that I've been doing a lot of events and talking about topics related to tech and business. Goodbye.
One